Out on the track, it was a monster. I
Right.
mean, because we were all over the place and going on like 120 around the around the corners and stuff. It was bonkers, and this
Yeah.
thing is glued to the road.
Dan, what are your top 5 things that you love about the Emira?
It's superficial, but it's looks. I mean, number one, when I saw this car, it was, I mean, I'm not kidding. It was the car I've been waiting my whole life for, design-wise. I've
Awesome.
always loved sports cars. Of course,
You can't see me because I'm sitting here in the dark daydreaming about the day when my Emira will be delivered. The video you're watching is part of a 3-part interview series, and I've got almost 15 other Lotus Emira videos. To make sure you don't miss out, you might want to take a moment now to subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on. That way you'll be notified every time I put out new Lotus Emira content. And hey, if you're curious, check out some of my other great car videos.
everybody loves exotic cars, right?
Right.
And when I was younger, me and my friends would draw cars. We'd go look at Lamborghinis and everything, and,
Yep.
and we were infatuated with that stuff. But there was always something in the back of my mind about a sports car that looked like an exotic car. Like no one had ever really found that formula.
Right, right.
At least I hadn't sort of really seen that. And when I saw this, and I thought it was, again, 3 times the price. And
Right.
when I saw the price, I just couldn't even believe that somebody had actually created this package,
Right.
it was really spectacular looking car.
What's your favorite angle for looking at the Emira?
Everyone. It's a remarkable design.
Yeah.
They absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
It literally looks spectacular no matter how you look at it. One thing I will say is pictures online do not do it justice. And I don't know if there are some that I think capture it pretty well. But I think I don't know if it's, phones and, lens kind of design that
right.
somehow always tends to make it look a little like sort of fatter than it's weird. It tends to distort it a little
Right,
bit. And
right.
in many different lines, whether it's from the front, it tends to make it look really,
Right.
trapezoidal.
Right,
Or
right.
from the side, it tends to almost make it look like a curve. There's just something about it. It always seems
Yeah.
to distort. And when you see it in the flesh, it's just completely is different. The proportions of it are spot on.
Yeah.
I was reading back something around, from the designer and how they thought about these designs and sort of the rear part of it and how it is a little bit more, muscular, if you will, and they call them like the haunches or whatever. They said it's to try to almost make it look like a cat about to pounce. There's like they have these ideas and they're like coming up with a design, and it actually makes so much sense because it looks like it's ready to go at all times.
Even when it's at standing still.
And it's just the taper of the front and the sort of flaring of the rear. It's subtle. It's not exaggerated. I actually believe it's going to go down as one of the best car designs ever.
Awesome.
It is like the Ferrari Dino of this era, I think. And,
Awesome.
Hopefully it'll be worth as much as a Dino someday.
Time will tell.
Yeah, who knows?
Time will
is a
tell.
Lotus still,
It is, yeah.
But yeah, they just absolutely nailed the design.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that was
number one.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I had never driven a Lotus before.
Oh.
And when I drove it the first time, it was a revelation.
Okay.
It's a go-kart on the road. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing to drive.
Yeah.
And I was in Hethel. So
Oh,
for a
wow.
business trip about a year ago or so, I was actually over there for business. And I took took the train out and did the sports car experience
Did
thing where
you?
you get to drive it. So
Oh, wow.
that was kind of crazy because I hadn't driven a stick shift in decades.
Okay.
So my first time was with a right-hand drive car shifting with my left hand on a racetrack. So
Right.
yeah, it was a little hectic.
Okay.
But it was just mind-blowing, right?
You didn't get to drive one before you put your deposit down, though.
No.
Okay, so
no.
that was just
I
based
never
on
even
sex.
seen one other than the website. It
Okay,
was
so
like,
sexy looks is worth putting a deposit down.
oh yeah, yeah, and it just it just answered everything as far as what I was looking for. Now, it was also interesting. Maybe into the third category was drivability. Like it actually is something you can daily drive.
Right.
And again, I had never owned a previous Lotus, but as I was researching, they have varying levels of, civility, right? In terms
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
how what you can do. And I really, wanted something my wife and I could cruise around in, go do weekends and things like that. So I wanted something that wasn't just a track car, that I could try to get on the road, but
Right.
something that I could, really enjoy and drive and use in a more varied way. So,
Right.
so the drivability of it was, probably the third part of it. And actually that came out even in those early,
Okay.
searching on the website, just seeing that, wow, they actually, seems like they've put some, creature comforts in here, but not
Right.
too many.
Right. Right.
So I think maybe a fourth thing I love about it is just that this balance between analog and modern
Right.
is really cool.
Yes.
Hydraulic steering and actually fairly minimal creature comforts. It's like just enough to be comfortable, but
Yeah.
it's not this electronic machine that drives you down the road. So
Right. Right.
I think that combination is just amazing. And people have different opinions about the displays on the dash and
Yeah,
everything.
sure.
But it's very non-obtrusive and it's it's very Spartan. It's
Yep.
got very it's sort of minimalist. So I just think they found a really nice combination of feeling like you're in a car from the 80s
Right.
with some of the comfort, modern.
Right, right.
I do love the parking sensors,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have those in the 80s, right?
I tell you, I'm going to love the cruise control. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't have that in my
Yeah.
Elise. You
Yeah.
know.
And the fact that again, it's a standard manual transmission
Yeah.
sports car.
Yeah.
It just is a classic combination of sports car features. So
Yeah, yeah.
what did I get to 4?
Yeah. Do you have a fifth?
That covers so many of them.
Yeah.
I
You
think
don't
just,
have to.
I think the fifth, I think, is maybe just the fun aspect of it.
Uh-huh.
Everywhere you go, people are smiling and thumbs upping. It seems to make people happy.
Right,
I don't know.
right.
I can't really quite describe it. It's not, it's not something that people are intimidated by or like. It just people seem to think it's cool and fun. Now, of
Right.
course, it's just different. Nobody's
Yeah.
ever seen one of
Right.
them before, so that's a factor. But my wife and I were driving just the other day down a street, and a mother and her 2 very young children, like one in a stroller and
Yeah.
another on a little teeny bike with training wheels
Yeah.
and a helmet. He's probably 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
And we go by, and he's like, the little kid gives us a
Yeah,
thumbs up. Like, I didn't even know what he was looking at.
Yeah.
But he liked it.
I mean, he's got
made him
Hot
happy.
Wheels at home probably. And,
Yeah. And
I-
at our last meet, the little
Yeah.
kid with a car.
Yeah, yeah.
It just, kids love it. It makes them happy. Yeah, everyone from 2 to 92
Yeah.
seems to smile when
Yeah.
they see it. So I think that's probably another factor. Is it brings happiness.
Right, right.
To me and other people.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed, especially young kids tend to
Yeah.
react to cars like this.
Yeah.
It's like the little kids, like, "Daddy, that man's driving a race car,"
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
So they're also not shy, right?
Right.
I mean, they're going to just say what they're thinking.
Right. If you can't tell, I'm pretty smitten
Yeah.
with it. It's
Yeah.
it was a revelation to
Uh-huh.
get behind the wheel of it, and again,
Yeah.
not tempering that with I don't get behind the wheel of a lot of fancy cars or anything.
Right,
But
right.
but it's just a fun car.
Yeah.
Makes people happy. Makes me happy. Me and my wife happy, and so yeah.
That sounds like a good
I
reason.
intend to keep it for many years. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like great reasons to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I look forward to producing this into some sort of finished content that we can share with others.
Sounds good.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thank you.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Hope that was
You can't see me because I'm sitting here in the dark daydreaming about the day when my Emira will be delivered. The video you're watching is part of a 3-part interview series, and I've got almost 15 other Lotus Emira videos. To make sure you don't miss out, you might want to take a moment now to subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on. That way you'll be notified every time I put out new Lotus Emira content. And hey, if you're curious, check out some of my other great car videos.